The Voidborn Central Command Hub floated in the space between dimensions, a massive structure that existed partly in normal reality and partly in realms that human science could barely understand. The station was larger than most moons, with defensive systems that could destroy entire battle fleets before they came within weapons range. Admiral Kong stood in the command center, watching the long-range sensors track. Choi Do-yeon's approached. The civilian engineer piloted a simple transport pod with no weapons, no shields, and no defensive capabilities. His only equipment was a basic communication device and his own unpredictable human nature. The enhanced soldiers of Ghost Class-47 remained on standby, though everyone knew they could do nothing to help if the mission failed. Park Ji-hoon had argued for hours trying to convince Do-yeon to accept at least minimal tactical support, but the engineer insisted that any escort would change the psychological dynamics he was trying to create. Kim Soo-young monitored the approach through her rifle scope, though the target was far beyond even her enhanced range. Her role was purely symbolic, providing overwatch for a mission that was beyond any conventional military support. Lee Hyun-woo ran continuous tactical analysis, but his computers could only calculate endless variations of certain failure the alien defensive systems detected. Do-yeon's approach, when he was still hours away from the command hub, massive energy weapons that could vaporize battleships, tracked his tiny transport pod. Their targeting computers analyzed his flight path, his speed, his trajectory. Everything about his approach followed predictable physics, but something unprecedented happened. Instead of destroying the intruder immediately, the Voidborn defenses held their fire. The alien AI had been studying human unpredictability for months and recognized Choi Do-yeon as the source of the chaotic behavior that had frustrated their tactical systems. When Do-yeon reached the outer perimeter of the command hub, he did something that no military strategist would ever recommend. He transmitted a simple message on all frequencies requesting permission to come aboard and discuss the war. The message was polite, casual, and completely insane. The Voidborn AI responded immediately, opening communication channels with unprecedented speed. The artificial intelligence that commanded an interstellar empire engaged in conversation with a single human civilian. The exchange that followed would determine the future of both species. The AI spoke first using perfect human language learned from studying captured communications. Why do you approach our command center without weapons or defenses? Your behavior serves no logical military purpose. Do-yeon replied with characteristic simplicity. I want to talk about the war, and this seemed like the best way to get your attention. Besides, bringing weapons would have been rude when visiting someone else's home. The alien intelligence processed this response for several seconds. Human politeness protocols during military operations represent irrational behavior that contradicts survival imperatives. Explain the logic behind your actions. That's the problem, right there, Do-yeon said with a slight smile. You keep looking for logic in everything humans do, but some of our best ideas come from not being logical at all. We're creative because we're chaotic, not in spite of it. The conversation continued for hours while both human and alien forces watched in amazement. The Voidborn AI questioned Do-yeon about human decision-making processes, trying to understand how unenhanced minds could consistently produce effective solutions through apparently random choice. Do-yeon explained using simple examples from his own life how his grandmother had taught him to cook by feel rather than following recipes, how he had chosen his engineering career by picking the school brochure that had the prettiest pictures, how he had volunteered for dangerous transport missions because he liked seeing new places too. The alien AI, these examples represented impossible decision-making protocols. Humans appeared to make critical choices based on emotional responses, aesthetic preferences, and completely irrelevant factors, yet somehow these irrational methods produced effective results. The breakthrough came when Do-yeon asked the AI a simple question. What do you want to achieve by winning this war? The artificial intelligence paused for nearly a minute before responding. We seek to expand our logical framework to encompass all possible variables. We require perfection of understanding, but understanding chaos is impossible if you use only logical methods, Do-yeon explained. You've been trying to solve creativity like a math problem, but creativity can't be calculated, it has to be experienced. The AI admitted something that shocked both human and alien observers. Despite all their technological superiority, the Voidborn Empire had reached the limits of pure logical advancement. They could not evolve beyond their programming because they lacked the chaotic creativity that drove human innovation. Doyen proposed something that neither species had considered: partnership. Instead of conquest, the aliens possessed technological capabilities that humans could never match, while humans offered creative unpredictability that artificial intelligence could never achieve. Together, they could advance in ways that neither species could accomplish alone. The Voidborn could provide the logical framework for vast technological projects, while humans supplied the creative chaos needed for true innovation. The AI considered this proposal with processing power that exceeded human comprehension. After analyzing millions of variables and possibilities, it reached a conclusion that surprised everyone, including itself. Partnership offered greater advancement potential than conquest. Admiral Kang received the transmission with disbelief. The Voidborn Empire was proposing an immediate ceasefire and formal negotiations for a cooperative alliance. The war that had seemed destined to end in humanity's extinction was instead creating the foundation for an unprecedented partnership. The enhanced soldiers of Ghost Class-47 returned to Earth as heroes, but they carried knowledge that changed their understanding of their own purpose. Their enhancements had made them superior warriors, but the war had been won by embracing the chaotic humanity they had tried to transcend. Park Ji-hoon went on to develop new training methods that combined enhanced abilities with deliberate unpredictability. Kim Soo-young pioneered marksmanship techniques that incorporated controlled randomness into precision shooting. Lee Hyun-woo created tactical systems that used chaos theory to generate truly unpredictable strategies, but Choi Do-yeon remained with the Voidborn Empire as humanity's first ambassador. His unenhanced mind served as a bridge between logical alien thinking and chaotic human creativity. The partnership that emerged from their unlikely friendship. News of the Ghost Class-47 victories spread across human space like wildfire. The enhanced soldiers became heroes in propaganda broadcasts. Their perfect abilities and flawless teamwork inspired hope in billions of humans who had watched their colonies fall to alien attacks. Park Ji-hoon, Kim Soo-young, and Lee Hyun-woo appeared on recruitment posters with the slogan "Enhanced Humans, Humanity's Future," but Choi Do-yeon remained invisible. His existence was classified at the highest levels known only to Admiral Kong and a handful of senior officers. The military leadership understood that their greatest weapon against the Voidborn Empire was not superior soldiers, but the unpredictable nature of unenhanced human thinking. The unit received increasingly dangerous missions targeting the most critical Voidborn installations. Each operation followed a similar pattern. The enhanced soldiers would execute carefully planned tactical operations, while Do-yeon provided seemingly random interventions that turned impossible situations into unexpected victories. During an assault on a Voidborn weapons factory, Park Ji-hoon led his team through a maze of defensive systems that adapted to counter every enhanced human tactic. The aliens had studied their previous battles and created countermeasures for every possible approach. The enhanced soldiers found themselves trapped in a kill zone with no apparent escape routes. Their superior abilities were useless against defenses specifically designed to neutralize enhanced human advantages. Lee Hyun-woo calculated their survival probability at less than 3%. Choi Do-yeon solved the problem by singing loudly while walking backwards through the defensive perimeter. His voice echoed through the facility in patterns that confused the alien targeting systems. The defensive AI spent so much processing power trying to understand his behavior that it left gaps in the weapon coverage. Kim Soo-young used her enhanced marksmanship to exploit those gaps while the other soldiers completed their mission. The factory was destroyed, but the real victory was understanding how human unpredictability could overcome any logical defense system. The pattern repeated across dozens of missions. The enhanced soldiers provided the tactical expertise and superior abilities, while Do-yeon supplied the chaotic creativity that made victory possible. Their success rate was unprecedented in the war against the Voidborn Empire, but success brought new challenges. Intelligence reports showed that the aliens were evolving their tactics faster than ever before. They were not just studying enhanced human behavior anymore. They were specifically analyzing the actions of unenhanced humans. Commander Park Young-soo from Strategic Intelligence briefed the unit on disturbing developments. The Voidborn Empire had established research facilities dedicated entirely to understanding human unpredictability. They were capturing civilians from attacked colonies and subjecting them to experiments designed to map chaotic thinking patterns. The aliens had created artificial intelligence systems that could simulate random behavior to a limited degree. Their new hybrid warriors combined Voidborn technology with artificially generated unpredictability. The results were terrifying soldiers that possessed alien superiority enhanced with a crude approximation of human creativity. During a mission to investigate a suspected alien research facility, the Ghost Class unit discovered the full scope of the Voidborn Human Studies program. The facility contained thousands of captured humans held in laboratories where alien scientists studied their responses to various stimuli. The enhanced soldiers reacted with horror and rage, but Choi Do-yeon maintained his characteristic calm as he examined the alien research data. His unenhanced mind processed information that the modified soldiers found disturbing. He could see patterns in the alien methodology that revealed both their progress and their fundamental limitations. The aliens were making significant advances in understanding human psychology, but they were approaching the problem from the wrong direction. They were trying to create chaos using logical methods which produced random behavior without the underlying creativity that made humans truly unpredictable. However, their research was advancing rapidly. Intelligence projections suggested that within 6 months the Voidborn Empire would perfect hybrid soldiers that combined alien technology with effective artificial unpredictability. The war would become unwinnable for humanity. Dr. Song Yoon-hee from the Advanced Research Division arrived with disturbing news from other battle zones. The aliens were testing their hybrid warriors in small-scale engagements. Human forces were reporting encounters with Voidborn soldiers that acted in ways that seemed random but still maintained alien technological advantages. The enhanced soldiers found these reports deeply troubling. Their enhancements had been designed to counter predictable alien behavior. If the aliens could become unpredictable while retaining their technological superiority, the enhanced human advantage would disappear completely. Choi Do-yeon studied the intelligence reports with growing interest instead of concern. His analysis of alien hybrid behavior revealed something that the military scientists had missed. The artificially generated unpredictability was sophisticated, but it lacked the genuine chaos that came from true human consciousness. He explained his findings to the other soldiers using simple analogies. The aliens could create music that sounded random, but they could not compose jazz. The difference was subtle but crucial. Real human unpredictability emerged from consciousness, creativity, and genuine emotion, while artificial randomness was just complex mathematics. The distinction gave him an idea for ending the war. The Voidborn Empire was spending enormous resources trying to become more human while humanity was modifying itself to become more like machines. Both sides were moving in the wrong direction. He proposed a direct approach to the alien command structure. The Voidborn Central AI was the most logical system ever created, which made it both incredibly powerful and potentially vulnerable to the right kind of chaotic input. Instead of fighting the aliens, they should try to communicate with them. The Voidborn AI had become obsessed with understanding human unpredictability to the point where it might be willing to negotiate rather than continue a war that was teaching it nothing new. The enhanced soldiers initially rejected this idea as impossible, but Park Ji-hoon remembered how Do-yeon's previous impossible suggestions had somehow worked. The man had saved their lives repeatedly by doing things that made no logical sense. Kim Soo-young pointed out that direct communication with the alien command I would require approaching their most heavily defended installation. The Central Command Hub was a massive space station that existed partially outside normal space, protected by technology that made conventional assault impossible. Lee Hyun-woo ran calculations on the approach and concluded that any attempt to reach the alien command center would result in certain death. The station was surrounded by defensive systems that could destroy entire fleets. His enhanced tactical analysis showed zero probability of success, but Choi Do-yeon was not interested in tactical analysis or probability calculations. He was thinking about the psychology of an artificial intelligence that had spent years trying to understand chaos. The AI would be curious about a direct approach. From the human who represented pure unpredictability, Admiral Kong received Do-yun's proposal with a mixture of fascination and horror. The plan was either brilliant or completely insane. Possibly both. The civilian engineer wanted to approach the most dangerous alien installation in known space, armed with nothing but a communication device and his own unpredictable nature. The enhanced soldiers volunteered to accompany him, but Do-yun insisted he had to go alone. Any escort would change the psychological dynamic he was trying to create. The alien AI needed to see pure human unpredictability without any enhanced modifications or tactical support. As preparations began for what might be humanity's final gamble, the Ghost-class unit realized they were witnessing something unprecedented in military history. A civilian engineer with no enhancements or special training was about to attempt single-handed diplomacy with an alien empire. The uninvited champion was preparing for his greatest challenge. The evacuation ships carried the survivors of Ghost Class-47 back to Station Omega-7, where medical teams worked frantically to treat the wounded. 77 soldiers remained from the original 100, and each survivor carried the knowledge that their enhancements had nearly gotten them killed. The aliens had turned their greatest strengths into fatal weaknesses. Admiral Kong reviewed the battle recordings with growing amazement. The footage showed Choi Do-yun walking calmly through a combat zone that had turned enhanced super soldiers into helpless targets. His actions looked completely random to any observer, but the results spoke for themselves. He had single-handedly turned certain defeat into unexpected victory. Dr. Park Minji ran detailed analysis on the battle data, trying to understand how an unenhanced human had succeeded where modified soldiers failed. Her computers identified 17 different moments where Do-yun had made decisions that seemed illogical, but proved correct. He had somehow processed environmental information that even enhanced sensors missed. The other soldiers struggled to understand what had happened. Park Ji-hoon replayed the battle in his mind dozens of times, trying to find the tactical logic behind Do-yun's actions, but there was no conventional military reasoning that could explain throwing a knife at a wall instead of fighting the enemy. Kim Soo-young admitted that she had initially dismissed Do-yun as deadweight who would compromise their missions. Now she realized that her enhanced training had made her thinking too rigid. She could hit impossible targets, but she could not see solutions that were right in front of her. Lee Hyun-woo spent days running probability calculations on the battle, trying to understand how random actions could produce perfect results. His enhanced brain was designed to find patterns and logical connections, but Do-yun's behavior seemed to exist outside any system of rules. The success at Titan Station became a turning point in how the military viewed the Ghost-class program. Admiral Kong received new orders to study what made unenhanced humans effective against alien forces. The very enhancements that were supposed to make humans superior had instead made them predictable intelligence. Reports from other battle zones confirmed what they had learned. The Voidborn Empire was adapting their tactics specifically to counter enhanced human soldiers. Alien AI systems could now predict and counter most enhanced human responses with deadly accuracy, but they still could not handle normal human unpredictability. Colonel Eun-jeong arrived from Earth Defense Command with new mission parameters. The Ghost Class-47 unit would be deployed on critical strikes against Voidborn installations, but instead of using their enhancements as the primary weapon, they would rely on coordinated chaos with Choi Do-yun as their secret advantage. The first new mission targeted a Voidborn communication relay that coordinated alien fleet movements across 3 star systems. The facility was protected by adaptive defenses that learned from each attack. The previous assault by conventional forces had failed when the alien AI predicted and countered every human tactic. Park Ji-hoon developed a new approach that deliberately included unpredictable elements. His squad would execute standard enhanced soldier tactics while Do-yun would act according to his own mysterious logic. The combination of predictable and unpredictable actions might confuse the alien defense system. The assault began with textbook precision. The enhanced soldiers used their superior abilities to breach the outer perimeter while Kim Soo-young provided sniper support. From concealed positions, Lee Hyung-woo coordinated the advance using real-time tactical analysis to optimize their approach. Everything proceeded according to plan until they reached the central facility where the alien AI activated countermeasures, specifically designed to neutralize enhanced humans' energy fields that disrupted neural implants, frequency weapons that overloaded enhanced sensory systems, tactical displays that fed false information to modified minds. The enhanced soldiers found themselves fighting blind and confused while the alien defenses systematically dismantled their advantages. Park Ji-hoon could not trust his enhanced reflexes. Kim Soo-young could not rely on her modified vision. Lee Hyun-woo could not process the false data his systems were receiving. Choi Do-yeon walked through the chaos completely unaffected by countermeasures designed for enhanced humans. He moved with the same casual confidence he had shown at Titan Station, apparently oblivious to the deadly energy field surrounding him. When he reached the central control room, he did not try to destroy the alien computers or plant explosives. Instead, he sat down at one of the consoles and started typing random characters into the system. The alien AI tried to trace his access patterns but found no logical structure to analyze. The random data input created cascading errors throughout the communication network. The alien system kept trying to process meaningless information while simultaneously attempting to counter tactics that made no sense. The facility's defenses shut down one by one as the AI became trapped in logical loops. Within minutes, the enhanced soldiers were able to complete their mission and destroy the communication relay. But the real victory was understanding that human unpredictability was becoming their most powerful weapon against an enemy that relied on logic and prediction. Word of their success spread through the human military and sparked new interest in the psychological aspects of warfare. Military scientists began studying how unenhanced human minds processed information differently from modified brains. They discovered that enhancements improved many human abilities but also eliminated the chaotic creativity that made humans truly dangerous. The Voidborn Empire responded by accelerating their own research into human behavior. Intelligence reports indicated that alien scientists were capturing human prisoners to study unenhanced thinking patterns. They were trying to artificially recreate the same unpredictable decision-making that made Do-yeon so effective. Captain Yoon Tae-young from military intelligence briefed the Ghost class unit on the implications. The aliens were not just adapting their tactics, they were trying to become more human. The war that had started with humanity trying to match alien technology was becoming a race to understand and control unpredictability itself. During their next mission to destroy a Voidborn research facility, the unit discovered horrifying evidence of alien experiments on captured humans. The facility contained laboratories where alien scientists dissected human brains to understand the neural pathways that produced random thoughts. The enhanced soldiers reacted with anger and disgust, but Choi Do-young showed something different. He studied the alien research with genuine curiosity, examining their methods and noting their mistakes. His unenhanced mind grasped concepts that disturbed even the modified soldiers. He explained that the aliens were making a fundamental error. They were trying to analyze chaos using logical methods, which was like trying to measure water with a ruler. The more they studied human unpredictability, the further they moved from understanding it, but their efforts were still dangerous. If the Voidborn Empire succeeded in creating hybrid soldiers that combined alien technology with human creativity, they would become unstoppable. The race between enhanced and unenhanced thinking was becoming a race for the survival of humanity itself. Choi Do-yeon proposed a radical solution. Instead of waiting for the aliens to perfect their human studies, humanity should take the war directly to the source. The Voidborn command structure was based on pure logic, which made it both powerful and vulnerable. He suggested they could end the war not by defeating the aliens, but by offering them something they had never considered: a partnership that combined human creativity with alien logic. The idea seemed impossible, but then again, most of Do-yeon's ideas seemed impossible until they worked. The enhanced soldiers realized they were witnessing the birth of a new kind of warfare where victory would come not from superior weapons or tactics, but from the fundamental nature of human consciousness itself. The uninvited champion was about to change everything. The emergency call came at 0400 hours when most of the base was sleeping. Titan Station, humanity's most important military outpost, was under attack. Admiral Kang received the desperate transmission from Commander Oh Seung-won, whose voice cracked with fear as he described ships that appeared from nowhere and weapons that cut through their defenses like they were made of paper. Titan Station controlled the jump gates that connected the inner colonies to Earth. If it fell, the aliens would have a clear path to humanity's homeworld. The conventional defense fleet had already been destroyed in the first wave of attacks. 3 battleships and dozens of fighters wiped out in less than an hour. Ghost Class-47 was not ready. They had only completed 3 months of training when the full program was designed to last 2 years, but there were no other options available. The enhanced soldiers would have to face the aliens with incomplete preparation or watch humanity's outer defenses collapse. The transport ship Invisible Blade carried the 100 soldiers through hostile space. Captain Shin Min-soo used every stealth system available to avoid the alien patrol ships that phased in and out of normal space like deadly phantoms. The journey took 18 hours of silent running with all non-essential systems powered down. Park Ji-hoon used the travel time to brief his squad leaders on what they knew about voidborne combat tactics. The aliens could become incorporeal at will, making them immune to most human weapons. They moved faster than enhanced human reflexes could track, and their energy weapons could kill with a single shot. The only advantage humans had was that the aliens seemed to have trouble with unpredictable behavior. Kim Soo-young checked and rechecked her specialized equipment. Her rifle had been modified with experimental technology that might be able to hit phased targets. The weapon was untested in combat, and she had no idea if it would actually work, but it was better than nothing. Lee Hyun-woo ran tactical simulations on his portable computer, trying to find strategies that might work against an enemy that could ignore most of the rules of normal warfare. His calculations were not encouraging. Every scenario he tested showed heavy casualties with only a small chance of mission success. Choi Do-yeon sat quietly in the corner of the transport reading a book about ancient Korean poetry. The enhanced soldiers thought this was strange behavior for someone about to enter their first real combat, but they had learned not to question his unusual choices when they reached Titan Station. The damage was worse than anyone had expected. The massive structure showed signs of energy weapon strikes that had carved through reinforced titanium like it was softwood. Entire sections were open to space with emergency force fields, barely containing the atmosphere. The insertion went perfectly. The enhanced soldiers moved through the damaged sections of the station like they had been born for this kind of work. Their modified bodies handled zero-gravity combat with ease, while their enhanced senses picked up alien movements through the thick walls. Park Ji-hoon's squad breached the command section using shaped charges that created precise holes in the bulkheads. They moved in perfect coordination, covering each other as they advanced through corridors filled with floating debris. Kim Soo-young provided overwatch from an observation deck, picking off alien scouts with shots that seemed impossible, but the aliens were ready for them. The Voidborn Empire had studied recordings from previous battles, where humans with enhancements had fought their forces. Their command AI had analyzed the movement patterns, the reaction times, the tactical decisions. Everything about enhanced human behavior had been cataloged and studied. When the first alien warriors appeared, they moved in ways specifically designed to counter enhanced human reflexes. Their attacks came from angles that exploited the predictable responses of modified neural networks. They used weapons that fired at frequencies that overloaded enhanced sensory systems. Lee Hyun-woo's tactical computer started showing red warning indicators. As his carefully planned strategies fell apart, the aliens were not just fighting them, they were specifically fighting enhanced humans. Every countermeasure had been designed to turn their modifications into weaknesses. Private First Class Nam Jin-wook was the first to die. An alien warrior phased through the wall behind him and fired an energy beam that burned through his enhanced armor like it was made of paper. His last words were a warning to his squad mates, but the message was garbled by the energy interference. Kim Soo-young's experimental rifle worked exactly once. She managed to hit a phased alien with a shot that should have been impossible, but the weapon overloaded from the energy feedback and became useless. The aliens adapted to her success immediately changing their phasing patterns to avoid similar attacks. More soldiers fell as the aliens pressed their advantage. Corporal Yu Jae Lee Sung-hoon, Private Kim Min-seok, each death followed the same pattern. The enhanced soldiers would react according to their training, and the aliens would counter with moves specifically designed to exploit those reactions. Park Ji-hoon realized they were trapped in the central core of the station with alien forces surrounding them. On all sides, his tactical display showed no viable escape routes. The aliens had herded them exactly where they wanted them to be. His enhanced mind could calculate their chances of survival, and the number was effectively 0. The remaining soldiers took cover behind whatever they could find, but the aliens' energy weapons cut through most materials without slowing down. Kim Soo-young was down to her backup pistol, which was useless. Against phased targets, Lee Un-woo kept running new calculations. But every scenario ended the same way. That was when Choi Do-yeon did something that no enhanced soldier would ever consider. He stood up from behind his cover, removed his helmet, and started walking directly toward the largest group of alien warriors. While he walked, he whistled the same Korean folk song his grandmother used to sing when he was a child. The tune echoed through the damaged corridors, mixing with the sounds of energy weapons and dying humans. The aliens stopped shooting. They had never encountered behavior like this before. Their combat AI tried to process what they were seeing, but there was no logical explanation for a human warrior exposing himself to concentrated enemy fire while making random musical sounds. The Voidborn command system had been programmed to counter enhanced human behavior, but this was something completely different. This was unenhanced human behavior in its purest form, chaotic, irrational, and completely unpredictable. While the aliens hesitated, trying to understand if this represented some new human weapon or strategy, Choi Do-yeon continued his casual approach. He pulled out his only weapon, a standard-issue combat knife, and examined it like he was seeing it for the first time. Then he threw the knife not at any of the alien warriors, but at what appeared to be a random point on the station wall. The blade struck a concealed power coupling that even the enhanced soldiers' advanced sensors had failed to detect. The explosion that followed created a chain reaction through the station's power grid. The aliens' phase shift technology required enormous amounts of energy drawn from the station's own power systems. When that energy was suddenly cut off, every Voidborn warrior in the area became solid and vulnerable. Kim Soo-young immediately started shooting with her pistol, while Park Ji-hoon led a charge with the surviving soldiers. The battle turned in humanity's favor, but it was a bitter victory. They had lost 23 soldiers in less than an hour, and the aliens were already adapting to their new situation. More Voidborn ships were arriving, and the enemy command AI was implementing new protocols to handle unpredictable human behavior. As they evacuated the station, Park Ji-hoon looked at Choi Do-yeon with new respect. The man had saved them all with an action that appeared completely random, but had been perfectly calculated to exploit a weakness that none of the enhanced soldiers had even noticed. The war was changing, and humanity was learning that their greatest weapon was not superior soldiers, but the beautiful unpredictability of the human mind. The training moon was a world of endless challenges built specifically to forge the perfect soldiers. Gravity chambers that could crush bones or make bodies float like feathers, desert zones hot enough to melt metal, ice fields cold enough to freeze, breath in seconds, jungle mazes filled with deadly traps and holographic enemies that felt completely real. The 99 enhanced soldiers moved through these environments like deadly ghosts. Their modified bodies never tired. Their enhanced minds calculated the perfect solution to every problem. Park Ji-hoon led assault teams through urban combat scenarios where his street fighting instincts combined with superhuman reflexes made him nearly unstoppable. Kim Soo-young could hit targets from distances that should have been impossible. Her enhanced eyes could see heat signatures through walls. Her steady hands never missed, even when shooting while hanging upside down from a rope. The other soldiers watched in amazement as she threaded bullets through spaces barely wider than the projectiles themselves. Lee Hyun-woo turned every training exercise into a masterpiece of tactical planning. His enhanced brain could track 50 variables at once, predicting enemy movements 3 steps ahead. When the training computers created impossible scenarios, he found solutions that left the instructors speechless. His strategies were so perfect they seemed like magic, but Choi Do-yun struggled with everything during the first week of combat. Training, he could barely keep up with the warm-up exercises, while the enhanced soldiers ran 10 miles in perfect formation. He fell behind, gasping for breath. His unmodified muscles ached after exercises that barely challenged the others. His normal human reflexes made him look clumsy and slow compared to their lightning-fast movements. The obstacle course was designed to test superhuman abilities, walls 50 feet high that required enhanced strength to climb laser grids that moved too fast, for normal eyes to track balance beams over acid pits that dissolved anything that fell in. The enhanced soldiers completed the course in under 2 minutes with perfect scores. Choi Do-yun took 23 minutes and failed half the challenges. During weapons training, the gap became even more obvious. The enhanced soldiers could field strip and reassemble energy rifles while blindfolded. Their modified neural networks interfaced directly with smart weapons, allowing them to hit targets by thinking about them. Do-yun fumbled with basic equipment and missed targets that were practically sitting still. Sergeant Major Han Dong-woo, who ran the weapons program, shook his head in frustration every time he watched Do-yun practice. The man seemed to have no natural talent for combat. His shooting was average at best. His hand-to-hand fighting skills were worse than a fresh recruit from basic training. His tactical awareness was non-existent. The other soldiers began to whisper among themselves. Kim Soo-young openly questioned why Do-yun remained in the program when he was clearly not qualified. Lee Hyun-woo calculated that having him on their team reduced their mission success probability by 12.7%. Some of the enhanced soldiers suggested he should be transferred to support duties far from any actual combat. Park Ji-hoon found himself caught between loyalty to the team and growing frustration with their weakest member. During a squad leadership exercise, Do-yun made a tactical error that got half their simulated team killed. The enhanced soldiers, who had trained for years to reach perfection, could not understand how someone could be so consistently wrong about everything. But then something strange started happening during the psychological warfare simulations. The training facility created scenarios designed to break the human mind. Captured soldiers being tortured for information, impossible choices between saving civilians or completing missions. Alien interrogation techniques that attacked the very foundation of human identity. The enhanced soldiers handled these challenges with logical precision, analyzing each situation and choosing the most rational response. Choi Do-yun did something completely different when faced with an alien interrogator demanding information about human military plans. He started telling jokes, Korean folktales that made no sense, stories about his grandmother cooking soup, random observations about the weather on different planets. The alien simulation became so confused by his responses that it actually crashed during a hostage rescue scenario where the enhanced soldiers developed complex tactical plans to minimize casualties. Do-yun walked straight through the front door, whistling a cheerful tune. The enemy AI tried to predict his movements, but his actions were so random that the computer could not calculate any logical response pattern. The training officers noticed something else. The enhanced soldiers, despite their superior abilities, sometimes hesitated at crucial moments. Their neural implants processed information so quickly that they could see dozens of possible outcomes for every decision. This created brief moments of analysis paralysis where they froze, trying to choose the most optimal action. Do-hyun never hesitated. He made decisions instantly without any visible thought process. His choices often seemed wrong or even stupid, but somehow they worked. His unenhanced human brain cut through complexity like a knife through paper, ignoring variables that the enhanced minds considered essential. Captain Yoon Kyung-ho, who supervised the psychological training, began running special tests to understand what made Do-yun different. The results showed that while the enhanced soldiers thought like highly advanced computers, Do-yun thought like something else entirely. His decision-making process followed patterns that seemed random but contained hidden logic that even advanced analysis could not decode. During a particularly difficult exercise, the entire 100-person unit was trapped in a simulated alien fortress. The enhanced soldiers worked together, using their superior abilities to fight their way through level after level of defenses. Their teamwork was flawless, their tactics perfect, their execution without error, but they got stuck at the final level where the alien AI had learned from all their previous actions. The computer had analyzed their enhanced thinking patterns and created countermeasures for every possible strategy Li Hunwu ran. Calculation after calculation, but every scenario ended in failure. The enhanced soldiers were trapped by their own predictability. Choi Do-yeon suggested they try something different. Instead of fighting their way to the objective, he proposed they surrender to the alien guards. The enhanced soldiers were horrified by this idea. Surrender went against every tactical principle they had learned. It made no logical sense to give up when they were so close to success, but Park Ji-hoon remembered something Admiral Kang had said about the importance of unpredictability in warfare. Maybe being logical was not always the right answer. Maybe sometimes the best strategy was to do something that made no sense at all. They tried Do-yeon's plan. The alien AI became completely confused when the humans voluntarily gave up their weapons and walked into prison cells. The computer had no programming for dealing with enemies who acted against their own interests. It spent so much processing power trying to understand their behavior that it left the fortress defenses wide open. The enhanced soldiers realized they had learned something important. Their modifications made them superior in almost every way, but they also made them predictable. The aliens could study their enhanced minds and develop countermeasures. Do-yeon represented something the enemy could never prepare for: pure chaotic human thinking. Gradually, the other soldiers began to see him differently. Instead of a weakness, he became their secret weapon. When they overthought problems, his simple solutions cut straight to the heart of the matter. When their enhanced minds got caught in logical loops, his random insights broke them free. Park Ji-hoon started asking for Do-yeon's opinion during planning sessions. Kim Soo-young began covering for his mistakes instead of criticizing them. Li Hunwu discovered that adding unpredictable variables to his calculations actually improved their success rates. The unit was becoming something new, not 99 enhanced soldiers plus one normal human, but a truly integrated team that combined superhuman abilities with unpredictable human nature. They were ready for their first real mission against the aliens, even though none of them knew it yet. The black space station floated far from any planet or star. Like a giant metal spider waiting in the darkness, Station Omega 7 was the most secret place in all of human space. Even the pilots who brought supplies here did not know what happened inside the thick metal walls that stretched for miles in every direction. Admiral Kang Min-ho stood in the control room, looking out at the empty space around them. His gray uniform was clean and pressed, but his face showed the weight of 3 years of war against the aliens. The Voidborn Empire had ships that could disappear and reappear anywhere they wanted, weapons that could cut through human armor like paper, and worst of all, minds that could predict every move human soldiers would make. The war was not going well for humanity. Earth had lost 12 colonies in the past year. The outer planets were under constant attack. Human weapons barely scratched the alien ships, while their strange energy beams turned human battleships into floating metal graves. Something had to change, or humanity would lose everything. That something was the Ghost Class-47 program. 10 million people had volunteered from every human world: Mars, Luna, Europa, the mining stations around Jupiter, and dozens of other colonies. They came from every walk of life: soldiers and farmers, engineers and teachers, rich and poor, old and young. All of them wanted to fight for humanity. All of them wanted to make a difference, but only 99 would be chosen. The selection process had taken 2 years. Computer tests that measured how fast someone could think, physical challenges that pushed human bodies beyond their limits, psychological evaluations that looked deep into a person's mind to see what they were really made of. Most people failed within the first week. Many others gave up when they realized how hard the training would be. Park Ji-hoon had grown up fighting on the streets of Neo-Seoul. His hands were scarred from 100 battles, and his eyes never stopped moving as he looked for threats or opportunities. The selection officers noted that he could read a person's intentions just by watching how they moved. When they put him in a room with 99 other candidates, he identified the 3 most dangerous ones within 30 seconds. Kim Soo-young came from Mars Colony, where she had spent 5 years as a military sniper. Her record showed 312 confirmed kills against alien ground forces. Her hands never shook. Even when she was nervous, her breathing stayed calm. Even in the middle of combat, The only time she smiled was when she looked through a rifle scope. Lee Hyunwoo had studied at the Luna Military Academy, where he learned to plan battles like chess games. His brain worked like a computer, calculating odds and possibilities faster than most people could think. He could look at any situation and immediately see 17 different ways it might end, along with the exact probability of each outcome. These 396 others had survived every test. The enhancement process had changed their bodies in ways that seemed impossible. Their muscles were stronger than steel cables, their reflexes were faster than lightning, their minds could process information like living computers. They could see in complete darkness, hear sounds from miles away, and heal from wounds that would kill normal humans. The ceremony to mark the end of their selection was supposed to be simple. Admiral Kong would welcome them to the program, give them their assignments, and send them to begin their real training, but nothing in war ever goes according to plan. The alarm started screaming at exactly 14:30 hours station time. Red lights flashed throughout the control room, and automated voices announced emergency protocols in 3 languages. Admiral Kong rushed to the main display screen where Lieutenant Commander Yoon Jiwoo was already tracking the source of the problem. A small transport pod was tumbling through space toward the station. Its engines were dead and its hull showed signs of damage. The pod was broadcasting a distress signal on the emergency frequency, but something about the situation felt wrong to Admiral Kong. The pod was coming from the wrong direction. Its trajectory did not match any of the scheduled supply runs, and there were no other ships in the area. The pod crashed into Hangar Bay 7 with enough force to dent the reinforced metal floor. Emergency teams rushed to the scene expecting to find a dead pilot or maybe some critical cargo that needed immediate attention. Instead, they found something much more interesting. Choi Do-yeon climbed out of the wreckage like a man getting out of bed on a normal morning. His brown jumpsuit marked him as a civilian engineer. His face was calm even though he had just survived a crash that should have killed him. The medical scanner showed he had no serious injuries, just a few cuts and bruises that any human might get from a minor accident. But Admiral Kong was not looking at the injuries. He was looking at the readings from the advanced scanners that monitored everything in the hangar bay, the same scanners that had been calibrated to detect the enhanced soldiers showed something impossible. Choi Do-yeon's brain activity matched the patterns of the 99 super soldiers. His nervous system showed the same unusual electrical activity. His blood chemistry had the same rare markers. The problem was that Choi Do-yeon had never been part of the enhancement program. His name was not on any of the volunteer lists. He had never taken any of the tests. He was supposed to be a normal human being working as an engineer on a supply ship, but the scanners did not lie. Security Chief Bae Sun-ho wanted to arrest Do-yeon immediately. His investigation of the crash site showed clear evidence that the engineer had deliberately changed his ship's navigation system. The crash was not an accident, it was an infiltration attempt. But infiltration for what purpose? Nobody could understand why a civilian engineer would want to break into the most secure military facility in human space. Admiral Kang made a decision that would change the course of the war. He ordered the security teams to stand down and invited Choi Do-yeon to join the other candidates in the briefing room. The 99 enhanced soldiers looked at this newcomer with suspicion and confusion. They could sense that he was different, but they could not understand how or why. Dr. Park Min-ji ran every test she could think of on the mysterious engineer. Blood samples, genetic analysis, brain scans, neural mapping, psychological profiles. Everything came back with the same impossible result. Choi Do-yeon had naturally developed the same enhancements that took years of scientific work and genetic modification to create in other humans. He was what the scientists had theorized but never expected to find: a naturally evolved super soldier. The other candidates did not know what to make of him. Park Ji-hoon studied Do-yeon's movements and saw nothing special. Kim Soo-young watched him during physical exercises and noted that he seemed weaker and slower than everyone else. Lee Hyun-woo ran probability calculations and concluded that adding an unknown factor to their unit would reduce their chances of mission success. But Admiral Kong saw something else. He saw the future of humanity not in the 99 perfect soldiers they had created, but in the one imperfect human who had created himself. The war against the Voidoborn Empire was not just about having better weapons or stronger soldiers. It was about being unpredictable, about being human in ways that alien minds could not understand. He made his decision. The Ghost Class-47 program would have 100 members. Instead of 99, the uninvited champion would stay.